What's up, YTPC? Uncle Willie coming to you from the coop, from the north side. Having a cigar today. Having a CAO Amazon Basin. Amazing Basin. The guy in the cigar group years ago, when this cigar first came out, this is the second release of the Amazon Basin. He said he got notes of raisins in it. So in our group, we started calling it the Amazing Raisin. We all laughed that he tasted raisins. But then over the years, come find out, not only have pipe tobacco manufacturers put cigar leaf there we go. Not only has pipe tobacco manufacturers put cigar leaf in their pipe tobacco, but for many, many moons, cigar manufacturers been putting pipe tobacco leaf condiments in their tobacco. I just found out recently that Drew Estate, they don't admit it and they don't include it in their description of their legal line or the underground line, but there is a burley in that, which burley is what they use in cigarettes. Burley's an Oriental, is what makes up Camel cigarettes. So anyway, that's the first run of these was in 2014, and they claimed that they only made, I think, 7,000 boxes. And on top of that, this tobacco supposedly could only be harvested every 7 years. Well, 3 years later, in 2017, they come out with another release. And then it's just, I haven't seen it for years, and then last year, they came out with this one. And it's not the same blend because this is a Añejo. Still a good cigar. Not worth what a lot of the not worth what a lot of the B&Ms want to sell it for, but it's the supply and demand. So you demand it, they supply it, you pay the price. The band on it is tobacco, and you can smoke it. I think that should be about halfway, because once you get up that far, the cigar is almost done. But you can smoke through that, and the flavor profile changes and gets a little stronger and adds a different oomph to the cigar because of it being on the outside. It dries up instead of being inside where it keeps humidity. This actually dries up and gets hard, and when you smoke it, it gives a different flavor profile. It's a good cigar. It's not a $12 cigar, but it's a good cigar. It's a good $8 cigar all day long. But finding it for $8, good luck. They made a couple other tobacco wrapped cigars. The Fuma and Corda, the Anaconda. The Fuma and Corda had rope wrapped around it. It looked like a snake wrapped around it. So you're able to smoke that all the way through. And Anaconda, I forget how that was, but it was something similar. And it's not really a gimmick. It is a good cigar. I'm sure you could Google it, find out more about it, all the filler and binder and wrapper and all that good stuff. Ricky Rodriguez, who used to be the head blender at CAO, when he smoked us, the cicada killer right there on a limb. Oh, he got something and knocked it down. Wow. Ricky Rodriguez, when he smoked one of these, he always took that band off. Why? I don't know. I've always left it on. I try to smoke through it because it gets hot, bitter, but it is good for the first couple rings. It's got 4 rings of rope. We'll call it rope. And you can see how it's put it on tight. And sometimes you can see how it's squished in right there. It looks like an hourglass from where they wrap it around it when everything's moist, and then after it ages, it doesn't let it swell out. With this drying and this aging, sometimes it makes it a little harder to draw. Just stick a poker through it or whatever. I punched it. I usually punch about 90% of my cigars. I've got this lighter here that I got at a Drew Estate event. I bought a box of blackened, the Metallica cigar M81. And I got this free lighter for the box purchase. It's sort of steampunk looking. You flip that down and then it comes open. And it's about out of fluid. Got a fuel window on the back like a lot of lighters do. So, oh, let's see, can you see that? It's hard to carry with this because it's snug fitting. So today's my anniversary. We're going to get Chinese. Well, I'm going to go pick it up. Having Chinese for dinner later. I'll just put a cover shirt over top of this. Sitting around here and all, I don't care if it prints. When I go out in public, I don't want people to know I got it. I want it to be the element of surprise. That's why we use concealed carry permits. Conceal is the name of the game. So old Smarty Bob the other day was talking about bicycles, and he said he got the idea from Double O Piper. I got a bicycle story. It's just sort of short. My dad my dad was in the Army. My dad was born in 1913. He was in the Army in Korea. And I'm going to say it was probably about 1944. He never talked about being a soldier. And I'd asked him a couple times about things and whatnot and being in the Army. And he would tell stories once in a while. One story he told, he said that, they had been eating, they called it sea rations, the little meals in a can. You use your P38 can opener, open it. They've been eating that for a month or more. Flavorless food, just enough nutrition and all to keep you going. Well, the infantry that he was in, they didn't have vehicles. But they had pack mules that carried all their supplies and stuff. And one of the pack mules died somehow at some point. And He said next day they had steak. He said he didn't question it. He just ate it because that was the first meat they had had in months. And he said it was probably the best steak he'd ever had. So I could see where that would be, you know. So I asked him if he ever shot anybody. And one time he answered, I asked him if he ever shot, you know, did he shoot your gun? Did you shoot it? Did you ever shoot anybody? He told me one time, he said, I don't know. So I just left it at that. I guess, you know, when you go through on the front line, you don't want to talk about it. Even today when people come back from being on the front line, they don't really want to talk about it. So, but anyway, the bicycle story. When they were in Korea, they had weekend passes to go into town. Not everybody, you know, they had to go in different shifts and whatever. So some people were holding down the fort, so to speak. Well, they had a bus that picked them up and took them into town. And the last bus that went back to the barracks, the makeshift barracks, it left at like midnight or something like that. Well, my dad and his partner, his compadre, they were drinking and, you know, just painting the town red. They missed the last bus. So when they realized that, they went outside and there were some bicycles out there. The bar they went to in town, it was like 20 miles away from where their barracks were. So they both grabbed one of those bicycles that was sitting outside there, jumped on it and rode it back to the barracks. Well, the commanding officer knew when the final bus came back, they knew my dad and his partner wasn't on the bus. So he waited and saw them when they rolled in, you know, like 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever, how long it took them to get back to the barracks. He didn't confront them at that time. He waited till the next morning because they had to get up for roll call at like 6 o'clock, whatever it is, you know, 0600. So my dad and his buddy, they parked the bikes around back behind their barracks. Well, it came up about them missing the bus. And the commanding officer told him, said, I know you missed the bus or you didn't come back on the bus. He's like, I give you a chance to tell me how you got back. So they end up confessing, saying that they had grabbed a couple bicycles. They stole them. Grabbed a couple bicycles and rode back to the barracks. So my dad the commanding officer made my dad and his buddy ride those bicycles back to that bar where they stole them from and try to find who they belong to, or at least drop them off with the owner or the bartender and tell them that, you know, what they did. So they rode them bicycles back. So that was 40 miles on a bicycle, which probably, you know, the seats on them things probably tore their butt up. And then after they dropped them off, he made them walk back to the barracks. So my dad told me after that he had never took anything that was not his. That story is always stuck in my mind. You know, and I think about it periodically. You know, you're reminiscing about stuff and whatever, and I come up, you know, you're thinking about your parents, you know, if you're like me and both of your parents have already passed, you think of old memories and, you know, good times and stuff when when they were still around. And my dad lived to be 94, 97. So I'm hoping I got his genes, and I'll be making videos for quite a while bugging you guys. I did get a bicycle for Christmas one year. It was right when 10 speeds came popular around our way. And back then, we called them English racers. And I got one for Christmas, and it came half assembled in a box, big bicycle box. The handlebars weren't on it, but everything else was on there, the wheels and everything. And so my dad put the gooseneck and the handlebars on it, and he put the gooseneck on backwards. And so I had to fix it Christmas Day when I got it. And I was like, I didn't know he put it together, and I was like, this bike's put together wrong. I'm gonna have to fix it. And then that's when I found out that he had put it together and put it together wrong. He wasn't no bicycle mechanic, and I don't think he'd ever rode a bicycle since that day that he stole that one. So it's all good. Drinking this Gold Peak zero sugar sweet tea. This stuff is good. It's not like the old typical the pink stuff, whatever, that sweet and low. That's got a little aftertaste to it. Anyway, I'm gonna jump, guys. I'm gonna finish the rest of this, sit out here, enjoy the day. It's beautiful out here. The sun's out and all, but the humidity is nowhere to be found at the moment, and I'm not looking for it. Hope y'all had a good rest of your Saturday afternoon. And remember, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And with that being said, until next time, you know what to do. Stuff them and puff them. Smoke them if you got them.